everybody, and welcome to episode 67 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can find show notes in the episode thread of the This Old Knit podcast group on Ravelry. Hello! I have been sick. I had an upper respiratory infection and pink eye to kind of rub some extra terrible on top of that. So I had pink eye for I think 5 days in this eye. And then when I thought I was in the clear, I got it in this eye. So I am eye makeup free until things are completely cleared up. And I'm on like the antibiotic eye drops. So I think I have 6 more days of treatment in both eyes because I'm just going to keep treating the one until I'm symptom free in both. And I'm a little bit off right now. What I'm trying to do is make sure that the camera isn't picking up the light from the outside, like if it has it shining directly into the camera. But I'm in the nook, so I don't have a lot of room to maneuver because it's a very, very small space. And we're actually going to take down this, which is play fencing. So if any of you are familiar with the little play yards that are plastic and they all kind of snap together into a big round thing, we have had one of those around the railing of our nook since Megwin was born, because we used to have our offices up here before we converted her room, which is the pink room you can see a little bit of right there, into being her bedroom. We had our office up here, and so she was up here kind of crawling around and stuff, so we wanted to make sure she wouldn't fall down the stairs, obviously, and we just never took it down. And then Joshua was starting to come up here, and now they're both pretty responsible, so we think that we can take that down, put it away, and potentially reuse it somewhere else, because he is starting to get into everything. So he's pretty much unstoppable. There's nowhere that he can't reach in our house, and he'll use chairs, the baby potty, anything that he can climb on to get to basically any surface. The only place that is safe is on top of the fridge, and that's only a matter of time until he's tall enough to reach up there. So we need to have a way to corral him while my husband goes to the bathroom during the day, because he seems to be fast enough that he can really cause a crazy mess just in the amount of time that my husband can go to the bathroom and wash his hands. So we're going to try and see what we can do with that. Anyway, long-winded way of saying that I will get more room to move around in the nook very soon. So you can see that's probably another 2 feet maybe. So thank you for joining me. I have a ton of stuff to show you this week. A lot of acquisitions or gifts, because it is my birthday month, yay! And anniversary month, yay! So it's our 10-year anniversary this month, and then my birthday. So my birthday's already passed, but the party gets to keep going all January long. My husband and I joke with each other that because for a long time when we were dating and then when we've been married, he's terrible with dates. So he can never remember the dates. And at this point, he does remember my birthday and our anniversary. But we used to say that it's our special month because he knew it was in January at least. So I said, well, all month long then we're going to celebrate. So what I'm holding is something that I received from Annie Knitter, and we had agreed to do a cup swap. She ordered, I think, a couple of these in error, so she wanted one, and she ended up with 3. So they are the Starbucks Travel Cup, Go Cup. They had these at around Christmas time, and they look like cabled sweaters, and I really wanted one, and I just procrastinated, and I didn't order one. So she had the 2 extras, and she said on her Instagram feed, if anybody's interested in swapping, let me know. And I happen to have an extra You Are Here mug Miami I don't know how I got two. I think two of my friends traveled to Florida, and so they both very sweetly picked up mugs for me. So I had two Miami. So I had one at home, and then I had one at work. Um, and one of them I hadn't used. It was still in the box. So I said, hey, do you want my extra Miami and we'll trade? And she said yes. So I have not got hers in the mail yet. I still have it at work in the box, but this is the first week that I've been back at work from the sickness. And then, of course, it was crazy trying to get caught up from being out for 3 days. So, yeah, thank you, Annie Knitter. I love it. And I have a little bit more of stuff to show that she included with it a little bit later. So, I think we've done enough waffling. Let's get into the knitting. Unfortunately, I piled my stuff in such a way because I kind of have to bring it all into this area, and I've got to squeeze across a little tiny space. So I piled things as I got them. I'm really cold, so I may put on one of my shawls. I did bring my across the pond shawl that I knitted, and this is a pattern by Mina Phillip, who is Knitting Expat on all the social medias. And it's one of my favorite shawls. I knit it out of No Makers, a doppelganger in Berry No Me. I think it's the Berry No Me doppelganger, but I believe the semi-solid is grape. And now she is offering semi-solids, so you can get her beautiful semi-solids as well, and it's a very pretty tonal grape purple. And I'm recording on my phone again, so I apologize. Like, it's much more distracting to see oneself in the screen, so I have to remember to look here. In the camera, I don't have a screen because I have an old camera, so it doesn't have one of those kind of flip forward where you can see yourself. So my screen is behind me, so I just have to go with it, that everything is okay, but it's easier for me to look in the lens. So I will try my best not to be distracted by the person moving over here. So give me just a second and let me organize my acquisitions down underneath of my whips, and then I will switcheroo. As you can hear, there are a lot of them. Some of them I actually had last week also, but last week, 2 weeks ago. But it was getting really crazy at the end. Like, my kids were not happy that I was, especially Joshua was not happy that I was upstairs and he couldn't get to me. They are at the gym right now, so I have a load of laundry going. So I figured while I'm waiting for that to get ready to move to the dryer, I would try to quickly record a podcast for you. So this is a new cast on, and I think I did not show it last time. But if I did, oh well. So I would like to knit, always have a pair of Felici socks on the needles because I have lots and lots of Felici. I want to knit through it, and I want to have a bunch of Felici socks. So I thought I would try to get those done for the Box of Socks Cal, which is being hosted in the Yarngasm podcast group, and at the same time accomplish my other goal. These are really clicky needles because they're on my Carbons, which I don't use super often, but I like them. I just have a lot of Addi sock rockets. So here's what I have so far. I'm just knitting this one a straight vanilla, no slip stitches. And this colorway is it Sprinkles? I believe it's Sprinkles. So I thought it would be fitting for my birthday month. I love the colors. It's so fun. So this is all the colors that are in the skein, and I'm getting ready to start repeating it. So yeah, I do 64 stitches for my standard vanilla sock, and then I do 20 rows of ribbing Sarah of the Love Sock Wool podcast turned me on to that. I used to just do 15, but I do like the little bit longer cuff. So here's the, excuse me, yarn in the skein. And of course it is squishy and wonderful, as all Felici is. And one of my Instagram followers, iPatty1955, said that she tried Felici because she saw it on my podcast and she loves it. So I'm really glad I could turn you on to it, Patty, because it is fabulous yarn. And that's just in my leaf bag. And then in my Christmas bag, because Christmas never dies. I love these animals so much. Are these socks I'm doing for Josh. So my husband, as I've said many times, loves hand knit socks. He needs more pairs. So I am actually trying to work on making sure that he has more pairs. My original thought was to have these done for our anniversary. That did not happen. Maybe for Valentine's Day. We'll see. He has huge feet. He doesn't care. Timing doesn't matter because he wears them year round. And now that he goes to the gym, I think 5 days a week, he wears them when he's working out too. And he loves them because he says that his feet don't get all sweaty and gross with wool. So just a pro tip. So I'm knitting these out of Full and Vine Yarns, Footsie Base, and this is the Captain Swan colorway. So it's from her Once Upon a Time Yarn Club. I'm going to bring it closer just because I'm getting a little bit of glare from the camera. So it's like a very almost lavendery gray and then a darker gray and these pops of red. And I think it's a super cool guy socks color, but I would absolutely wear it too. For my contrast heel, I did leftover Madeline Tosh sock in the Steamer Trunk Gray colorway, which I think goes really great with the Full and Vine. It's like the perfect match for that gray. Because I had a ton left from my Exploration Station shawl, so look at that. I've got a ton left, even having done that heel. What I'm thinking I might do with whatever's left over is make a pair of stripy mittens with my Outlander mini skeins that I got. And this will be the main kind of color, and I'll do alternating different stripes. That's going to be a lot of ends to weave in, but I think they'll be really cool, and this will be a good neutral color. So I just have to finish the foot, and then I'll do a contrasting toe also in the gray. So I've just got the first one going. I haven't finished a sock yet. But I'm enjoying those. They're great. Picking up whenever I have just a little bit of knitting time. It's very easy to pick up a vanilla sock. So I try to have a couple of them always on the needles so that I can do that. And then in my Full and Vine Yarns Cape Cod bag, I have my Mercury socks. I don't know if I've done much more on these since I showed them last time, maybe a row or two. I'm knitting them out of Hedgehog Fibers sock yarn in the teacup colorway. And this yarn is so fun. I love all of the speckles in Hedgehog Fibers yarn. It is one of my favorite yarns, hands down, just for the speckles. She does speckles so well. And the texture on this sock is amazing. I can see why everybody was absolutely in love with these socks. They're fun. It's really easy, the pattern. So again, I can just kind of pick them up and work on them whenever now. It doesn't take very long to memorize it. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it is a 5-row lace pattern repeat. So if you've never knit lace before, I think this would be a great pattern to try your hand at that because it's so simple and there's only 2 rows that actually have yarn overs in it, and the rest is all just knits and purls. So that is that one. And then, what am I going to show next? Okay. In my bag from Coddington, I have my honey pullover. And I'll be honest, I have not worked a ton on this either. And the reason why is that I believe I'm at the point where I should start doing waist shaping, but I need to put it on a longer cable so that I can try it on. Usually what I do is I try to get past the fullest part of my bust and then I would start doing waist shaping. And because my row gauge was a bit off from what the pattern stated, I think I needed to add a bit more length to get to that point. So I really do need to try it on. And that requires that I have the extra cable, that I have my key because I'm using my Knit Picks interchangeables on it, and that I also, no, I'm actually, am I? No, these are my Addi Lace Clicks, but I've been knitting it onto my Knit Picks interchangeables. I have a 60-inch cable that I use for knitting blankets, but it's also really great for trying on sweaters because then you don't have to put it onto waste yarn, which I think is a pain in the butt. I don't like doing it. Then I feel like it's a real struggle to get your stitches off of the waste yarn and onto needles, so I wouldn't want to do that over and over again. So what I do is I take my other longer cable with the same size needles and I just knit the next round onto that bigger cable. I leave the extra hanging out to the side, then I try it on, and then I knit it back onto my smaller circumference needles so that I continue knitting more quickly. I don't like magic looping the sweaters. It's just not for me. So anyway, lots of waffling. And I had to join a new ball of the Venus Flytrap. So the 2 colors I'm using for those just joining me are Volanvine Yarns Volca in I Will Always Find You, and then Volanvine Yarns Blitzed in Venus Flytrap. But I have 4 skeins total, so I'm alternating the 2 variegated skeins, the Volca. I was not alternating the Venus Flytrap. My second skein of Venus Flytrap has a lot more gold tones in it, but I think it's okay. I had a little bit of brighter coloring, but with all that's going on, I don't think it's going to be super noticeable. So I'll show you what I mean. So do you see down at the bottom, this stripe right here? It's hard to tell with the lighting, but there's some golden pops that happened. This is definitely darker, and then it lightened up some. But on the back, it's not nearly as golden, and it started to darken back up on the subsequent stripes. So I think it's okay. And I really don't want to have 4 skeins of yarn attached to this project at a time. That's crazy pants. 4 skeins of yarn on a project. And I'd have to carry up 3. And I think that might actually be too much on a seam. It might make it feel bulky if I had 3 strands of yarn that I was twisting up. I think 2 strands is okay, but 3 might start to make it feel more bulky. And I certainly don't want to cut the yarn every stripe. That way lies madness for me. So yeah, I do really love it. I'm really going to enjoy wearing it. And hopefully after I do that try on, I'll be able to start really zooming again. I get into these weird funks where if I have something that's a little bit of a difficulty that I need to overcome, I kind of put it to the side and just work on something else, which is silly because I want to have this sweater done. Here, I've got so what happened is I was winding this yarn and it slipped off my Swift a little bit and it ended up getting in a huge tangle, so I had to cut it. So I had 2 half skein balls, and then I have, this one was fine on winding. So let's see if you can see. You can see how this one is slightly darker and this one has those more golden tones to it. Maybe you can't tell, but yeah, I think it's fine. And ultimately, I'm the one who has to wear it. So that's that. Maybe this evening I will try to do all of that cable nonsense. Get another sip of coffee. I completely lost my voice for like 4 or 5 days. So I still am a little bit froggy, but I tried really hard to not take antibiotics, and eventually like my throat just felt like it was on fire. So I did start an antibiotics course, and within like a day and a half, I felt a million times better. So it clearly was bacterial infection, not viral. Or I had a secondary infection by that point. Who knows? It's on my little window ledge, so I have to be careful when I set it down. Okay. The whips are not done. And I have no finished objects. Okay. So my next step is my coastline shawl, which I am knitting for the Wollonvine Yarns Shawl Along in the Wollonvine Yarns group, not the Yarngasm podcast group. And that goes through March 1st. And I think I will be able to get this done by then. So I am knitting this out of the Nouveau base, which is this is my first time using Kristen's Nouveau base. I got the this color, which is Fig Bash, from the Edward Gorey Details Yarn Club. And then the blue I bought specifically to match with it because I didn't have any other singles in my stash. And so Kristen dyed up a bunch of Myth, and I managed to snag one of the skeins in the same base, the Nouveau base, and I think they look really great together. So it's a garter and feather and fan pattern. And I'm also using this as my project for the palette cleanser cowl, which is a cowl that I am hosting in the This Old Knit podcast group. So it is essentially knitting anything that is soothing to you. And I love all the stuff I'm seeing so far. I think you guys get the idea of what I'm trying to do. And it's really just something to help us be part of the community together. Very laid back, knit along, and I'm really happy to see people love the idea too. I think we all could use a little bit of healing. So here you go. So I'm into that second feather and fan repeat, and this pattern is just so intuitive and relaxed. I just love it. And this yarn is super, super soft. It is like touching a cloud. There you go. I love on Fig Bash, there's these little pops of like chocolate brown and then corally pink. It's almost like little jewels on my shawl. There's some corally pink on the back. So I always get excited when I see one of those little speckles. I'm like, oh, a speckle. So that's that. I'm knitting it on size 5 US needles. These are my Knit Picks interchangeables, and I bought some more cables. They started stocking these green cables instead of the purple. They're really stiff, but they actually work pretty well on shawls because you get kind of some support for your knitting because you have a lot hanging off of your needles by the end of knitting a shawl. And I've gotten both of my friends into knitting shawls, so I consider that a win. Because shawls are fun, y'all. They're super, super fun. And I love wearing them. I wear them all the time. Okay. Now the blankets. And if you check out the Anna Knitter podcast, she is hosting a year-long blanket along. You don't have to finish your blankets, but I think the hashtag is hashtag Anna Knitter Blanket Along. And I think she's doing quarterly prizes. I need to contact her because I want to donate a bag for it. So this first is the Glittery Blanket of Unicorns and Magic, or the Give 'em. My Pandia's Jewels Rainbow Llama Corn bag that I showed last time. And this has grown quite a lot since I showed it to you last, because I worked on it quite a bit while I was sick. So what I did last time I showed it is I put this little coffee cup marker on there. I got this from Jessica B. Jane, or Jane BG1923, in her very, very fun surprise package to me from Canada. So she got this, I think, at a Canadian Fiber Festival, and I love it. It's so sweet. So I added the red, this pink, and these are Yarn at Home Mom. And I think I had some of the red on there last time, so I may not have put the marker exactly, but my lighting was terrible, so this looked black, but you can see it's this really beautiful, dark, deep red. And then the pink also didn't show all these fun speckles, has purple and red speckles on it. And then I did this one by No Makers in the Sparkle No. So I think I'm going to go around to do this corner because it's a bigger mini, and then I will start on another. I haven't decided. So I have this left over from a pair of socks, and I forget what the dyer is. They don't dye anymore, but this is all I have left. And I'm wondering if I even should put it in the blanket because I still have those socks. I'd like to keep this for darning the heels, or probably the heels. I would say toes, but my socks always wear out in the heel portion. So I'd almost like to keep that for darning socks. So I may not add that one. So what I'm thinking, which of course now I can't find it, there's a lighter green, and I'm trying to use up the Yarn at Home Mom ones because they're a little bit smaller mini skeins from the Gilmore Girls sets, and as my blanket gets bigger, I'm going to get less mileage out of each one. So I'd like to use the ones that I have that are a little bit smaller yardage at the beginning, towards the middle. And it'd be fun, to have all the Gilmore Girls ones together also. So I'm thinking maybe this one next, which has a little bit of pops of forest green and lime green. It's very pretty. So yeah, I think that one, and then I'll try to transition into another greeny one. Maybe this one, because that also has some blues and blacks. I'll have to ask Megwin. Like I said, I'm also trying to let her take the lead on picking colors because she's probably gonna end up with this blanket ultimately, and then maybe that one. These are all ones that she said she really likes. I mean, she likes all of them because they have glitter. So that's that. And I'm knitting that on a size US 2.75 millimeter needle. The pattern is the 10 Stitch Blanket by Frankie Brown. And several people have either commented on the podcast or commented in the threads and said they're thinking about starting a 10-stitch blanket. And if you're thinking about it, do it because it's so much fun. I love my 10-stitch blankets. So, speaking of 10-stitch blankets, I haven't shown this tote before, but I got it for free. We order all of our bath products from the Honest Company, and you can actually set up to have a monthly subscription shipped to your house. They sell them at Target now too, but we have it shipped to our house, and it's really nice because we have a bundle already set up. I know that's how much shampoo and conditioner and bubble bath that we go through roughly in a month, and we usually have a little bit of leftover as an auxiliary. But it's nice to not have to worry about going to shop for that stuff. And then we just have to shop for groceries because trying to fit multiple store trips into one weekend, the kids start to lose steam and get crazy. So the fewer the better. But at Halloween time, they had, they send you out periodically little coupon codes if you are a subscriber and get bundles. So they had one for getting a free tote, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll put it in. And it was totally this awesome tote. So it's got skulls on it, and it's really great canvas bag, and it's huge. I mean, you can see how big it is. It's huge. It's like a shopping tote, but it's also a great knitting bag. So I'm using it now for my 10-stitch blanket because it's far too large for any of my project bags to house it. It has really great webbing handles. It's just really well made. I'm shocked that this was free. So inside of it, oh, and it smells so good too because I have cedar blocks in here because it's open and I don't work on it all the time. I am terrified of moths. We had a either mothing or carpet beetle incident. I'm not sure which. And I don't remember if I talked about it on the podcast or not. You may not have. But I had a very large basket that I got as a gift from my mom when we still lived in the Bay Area. We bought it at Fisherman's Wharf. And I always kept like my leftovers from projects in it. And it was kind of halfway up the stairs. So if I didn't have time to come up and properly put things away, I would at least come up the stairs and toss the balls of yarn in there. So I could keep them away from Joshua because he likes to untangle things if they're small enough. He doesn't usually bother my yarn in general, but if it's like a really little ball, for some reason that's very attractive to him. So I would always like at least come up halfway, toss it in there, and eventually I'd, clean everything out and put it away properly. So I was going through that basket and seeing kind of what had built up in there and deciding which things that I wanted to put away properly and maybe which things I wanted to see if they were even worth holding on to or for the birds. And I noticed that there were like some little dried up husks, which is usually a sign that you have moths or carpet beetles. So I noticed that there were a few in my yarn and I was like, oh no. Okay, maybe not a big deal. They may have just got picked up from somewhere else. So I dug a little bit lower down and then I saw things moving. And I freaked out. Now, luckily, this was not anywhere near my stash. And it was on wooden stairs, not near the carpet, far enough that unless it was moths and they had fully grown, that they would like fly up to the rest of my yarn. But proactively, when you find stuff like that, it's best to treat everything. So what I did is I immediately took that basket and looked at which things I wanted to salvage. And the reason I'm going through this is that I looked online and people don't really talk about when their stashes get infested and how they deal with it. I think Jenny from the Handmaiden Woolen podcast and Devin have talked about what they did when they found some moths, but I did a little bit different of an approach because it was the middle of winter and we didn't have like the sun to go lay it out in. So what I found good resources on were that white vinegar is really great for killing the eggs. And I had, obviously some scraps that I was like, I don't care enough to save them. So I took everything that I wanted to keep out, which I had a lot of full skeins of Patton's Croix in there, and I put those in Ziploc bags so I could immediately seal it off and deal with it when I had time. I took the basket outside, threw away any of the yarn that I saw actively had things in it, and then I slowly, over the period of like a week maybe, reskeined all my yarn. I don't have a good reskeiner, so I sat there and like tied one end to one of my prongs of my tabletop Swift, and I just spun it to reskein. I think I had 10 skeins of Patton's Croix. So I reskeined all of those. I washed them all in a 50-50 vinegar hot water solution. Maybe it was lukewarm, but the point is that you have to have the vinegar. And they suggested soaking it for 30 minutes. So I did that. Then I also took the extra step of freezing them. So I dried the yarn completely out. I froze it for 2 weeks in my freezer. And they said you actually should unfreeze it, bring it back to room temperature, and then freeze it again. So I brought it to room temperature for a day, then froze it again for another 2 weeks, and then brought it back to room temperature. And all of those skeins are still in a separate Ziploc bag because I wanted to make sure. And then I cleaned that entire area with vinegar and water solution. I vacuumed everywhere around there. I sprayed my carpet with a vinegar or water solution. And you also need to make sure that you empty out your vacuum afterwards and clean all of the hose parts and everything with the vinegar water solution, because otherwise you could be spreading all of the eggs. So I did that. Then I went and swept all of my stash, turned everything. I put a bunch of cedar blocks. So I got a lot of great cedar blocks from Knit Picks. They have these starter kits. So I got a couple of the starter kits. I cedared everything. I bagged anything I wasn't going to use immediately, anything that had been caked up for a while. I reskeined it. I washed all of that in the vinegar water solution. For those, I did not freeze because I didn't have enough room in my freezer to freeze everything, but they said the vinegar water should be enough. Dried everything and put it all back away. So this whole process took about a week to finish everything. And I think so far so good. But yeah, it was a big scare, and it was a good wake-up call that I shouldn't be keeping things in a small, dark, warm space to wait for later to put it away. I should just put it away when I finish a project. So I'm going to do that going forward. And I'm also going to make sure that I wash my project bags before I put those away, because I tend to, carry them around everywhere. But I do rotate my project bags, so I'm going to do that too. So public service announcement: if you have a mothing or carpet beetling, that's what I did. Seems to have worked. So my 10-stitch blanket. Wow. I haven't shown this on the podcast in a long time, but the last time I did show it, I did put a stitch marker on it. It's a fun little daisy, which doesn't want to stay the right way. There we go. Dang it. There. It's a daisy. Okay. So, from the daisy. Sorry, I have to figure out which way I'm going here. Hang on, needle down, needle down. I've been flipping it around in my lap while I've been talking. And I stopped mid-row, which is weird because it's only 10 stitches. Yeah. So crazy. I'm just going to do these 2 stitches and then I will show it to you. And apparently I'm going to knit with my right hand for those 2 stitches, which is also weird. Who am Speaking of which, Zoolander 2 is available on Netflix. I'm so excited. I haven't seen it yet. Okay. So from that marker, I've gone up around here, across here, and there I am. And for people who have not watched my earlier podcasts, because I have enough now that I get it, you're not going to go back and watch my entire catalog. I'm not that enthralling. I'm not. I'm doing this is my alternate 10 stitch blanket. This one is worsted weight, and it is in the Cascade Eco Duo, and I believe the Thunderstorm colorway. They're all like numbers on the tags, but I looked it up once, and I believe it's called Thunderstorm. So it is huge, 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 huge. But I really love it. And it's big enough that I actually use it now as a lap blanket while I am working on it, which is great. So it keeps me warm, but it is definitely a winter, spring, or fall project, not a summer project, because this is a wool alpaca blend, so it is really warm. So you do not want to have this on your lap in hot weather. But the idea is that it will eventually be, however big it is, either a couch blanket or something that I can use on our bed. I do use it on the bed whenever I'm sick. This is my sickness blanket. So it is super, super warm. So it's great when you have a little bit of a fever. It helps keep you really warm. And this combined with a hot water bottle is pure heaven. It's really soft. And I got this yarn for free from a stash dive that my mom's knitting group had, and it was knit into part of a sweater, and then there were a bunch of other skeins just sitting there, and whoever was knitting it decided that it wasn't right for a sweater, and I agree, it's not a good sweater yarn because it's super drapey because of all that alpaca, and it would be crazy hot, but as a blanket it is fabulous. So yep, I've been working on this for almost 2 years now. Probably 2 years. Yeah. Because my podcast has been around for almost 2 years. Next month is my podiversary. And I had already been knitting on it a bit when I started the podcast. So there it is. I think I have maybe 4 skeins in it right now. I think this is 4 skeins of that. It's hard to tell because the parts that were knit into the sweater, there were lots of little bits because there was like a piece of a sleeve knit, part of a front. So I just knit off of those first, and then I started knitting from the full skeins. So I'm at this point knitting from the full skeins, but I have a lot of ends on the back. So I can't count my ends to see how many skeins I've got in it so far. I'm actually going to leave it out on myself because it's so warm. And like I said earlier, I'm really cold. And since there's only 10 stitches on it, it's not bad to leave it. You can still use it while it's on the needles because I'm using straight needles. So I'm just using bamboo needles from Clover. I've knit it all on size 7 US, which is a 4.5 millimeter needle for those of the rest of the world that uses metric. But yeah, it's really fun. And the yarn does all of that coloring all by itself. It is a natural colored yarn, and there are, I think, 4 different shades of this yarn, and they're great. It's pretty affordable too. I think it's maybe like somewhere between $10 and $15 a skein. So it's not bad at all. Excuse me. Probably gonna have to do some cutting for all of the coughing. And I have to go take my antibiotic too. Okay. Whip time is over, children. And now let's go to acquisitions and gifts. So first up, I will show books. So I can move those to the side. So my lovely friend Jessica Anderson, who is Monkey Butt Babies on Ravelry, contacted me and asked if I would like to do a review of a, oh, I'm hearing the washer. I was like, what is this weird click, click, click I'm hearing? It's the washing machine. Usually I can't hear it in the living room, but because I'm by the stairwell, our stairs, you know, our basement stairs are directly below these stairs. So we actually get a really good straight shot for noise from the basement. So there she is. Hi, Jessica. That's her with one of her lovely shawl designs. And so she sent me a copy, which was super generous. So the book is called Knit Beanies. And it's lots and lots of different hats for various sizes and ages. She has a pattern in here called the Chevron Color Pop. Let's see if I can show it without showing you the constructions, as my children call it. Yeah. So it's got lots of different colors on it. Yeah, I can show it. That would be really cute for Joshua. It goes up to toddler size. And it's on a size 7 needle, so it's probably with worsted weight yarn. I think that's the only one of her designs in the book. But I've been terrible and I didn't actually check. So some of the ones that I think are adorable are the ones from her. There's a swirl hat, which I knit something like this for the kids when they were babies, and I wanted one in my size. So now I have a pattern to make one in my size. There's a furrowed rib. There's one for kids that's like a whale, and it is so stinking cute. I definitely need to make that one. Oh, there it is. Ah, it's so cute. So there you go. It's a whale. It has a tail on it, and then the little lace looks like water and his little spout. That is so sweet. And Joshua really loves silly hats, so he would probably get a huge kick out of that. It came with a little bookmark. So, like I said, that's Knit Beanies. Easy to make, fun to wear. 20 hats. So it has 20 different hat patterns in it. So thank you, Jessica, for sending me this copy of the book, and I definitely will be knitting stuff out of it going forward. Because I love hats, as does my family. And then this one is a gift from my in-laws. So we have an Amazon wish list, and they picked something off my Amazon wish list for me, which is great. So it is Gertie's Ultimate Dress Book. Kristen from Bull and Vine and the Yarnyasm podcast has shown this quite a bit, and I absolutely agree with her. It has so much information in it. I felt a little bit like information overload because I haven't actually sewn garments in a really long time. So I used to sew a ton of clothes when I was younger, and I actually competed for some of my clothing in like 4-H. We went to like the state fair and stuff. So I have forgotten a ton about what I used to know about sewing. Just crazy. But I'm relearning slowly but surely. And I mean, this book has everything. It has stuff about choosing your fabric, how to line things, joining pieces together, basic dress construction, different types of seams, you name it, it's got it. And then it has all of these great patterns in it. Of course, not all of them are really my style, but I'm hoping that as I get a little bit more experienced, I can take elements from different ones and just combine them. And if nothing else, I think this is a really great reference book to go back to when I buy commercial patterns. And I do have a few that I would like to make. So yeah, like this one, for example, I really like the shape, but the bow in the front would kind of not be for me because I have a very large chest, so I don't necessarily like to draw tons of attention to it with details like that, but the shaping of the dress is really great. And of course, a basic polka dot dress with a swing skirt, a classic. There's one in here that I have a dress kind of like this already for work, and it is hands down my favorite dress, so I would love to be able to sew more. And the only problem I have with the one that I have is that the waist actually hits a little bit high for me, because I'm very long torsoed, but then I'm very short. So dresses that fit my body tend to not fit at my natural waist. So anyway, it's this one. And I have, as I said, a very similarly shaped gray dress. And I would love to have it in other colors. And it is wool. And this one is a wool dress. So anyway, I won't show you all the different things that are in it, but you get the idea. I'm very excited about it. And who knows when I'll actually dive into it, given that especially my son has decided that he's going through a really crazy phase right now. So for mothers and fathers of toddlers out there, I feel you. We're all in this together and we'll get through it. I promise we will. But I'm in the throes of that right now with Joshua. Megwin is doing much, much better. She loves her new classroom, and she's doing much better in school now. We've gotten through, she was dealing with some bullying, and her teacher that she had was not being supportive at all, so we moved her to a different classroom, and it's like night and day. So we've seen a huge improvement in her behavior and in her academic stuff. Okay. So then, yarns. For those of you who didn't see yarn, Gnome Acres, Amanda, started carrying a multicolored tweed. And you guys know about me and my love of tweed. I was there. I was so there. It is called Party Gnome. And she doesn't have any listed, I think, right now. She said she's kind of trying it out and seeing how the reception is, but I love it. I already love how soft it is, and the colors that she did on it really let the neps kind of shine. So I got the two colors that she had available. One is Sprinkles, because it's my birthday month. So this one is a just tonal cream color. It's almost a little bit towards the taupey color, but you can see all those fun multicolored neps. It's called, she puts it as 15% unicorn hair and 85% superwash merino. There's 435 yards in a skein. So there's that one. And then the other color that I got is called Fireworks. So it is, I think it's almost like a very, very deep purple to me, to my eyes, or a navy maybe, but I think it's more in the purple land. But here it is. So it's like a night sky with fireworks. So I don't know what I'm going to do with those yet. I almost think they'd make a really pretty color work project, or a 2-color or 3-color shawl, like if I did these two and then something really bright as my third color. Which brings me to patterns. So Green W Girl gave me 2 patterns for my birthday. Thank you. One was the Winter Tornado Socks by Yarn Enabler, and she and I were talking about doing a knit along on those, so I'll probably start those soon. And then the other was the 3 Colors of Cashmere Shawl by Hoki Locatelli. So actually these two plus a bright color would be great for that one. So maybe that's what I'll do. And the kids are back. So I expect a visit from Megan soon.
There you are.
Hi, sweetie. I'm just finishing up podcast recording. I'm almost done. Whoa, don't bump.
I just wanted to ask you if I could have some hot chocolate.
Yes, when I'm done, I will make you some hot chocolate.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Hello.
You could get your Lego dragon to share. What do you think?
I will.
Okay.
Hi.
All right.
Goodbye.
And then next up is I pre-ordered these in December, but they are the A Year in a Life minis by the Yarn at Home Mom.
I'm ready.
I'm not ready for you yet.
Well, I am.
Okay, you're gonna have to wait. Okay, so there are 5 mini skeins in the pack. They're slightly larger in the pack. So the colors are I Smell Snow Part 2, The Secret Bar, Kick Up a Rumpus, Snooky is Back, and Reflecting Light. So I would love to get a full skein of this, and she actually said she was going to have those in her shop this weekend. Not that I need to buy more stuff for birthday month. And then Kristen so sweetly sent me I might have to save some stuff for next time because now that the kids are home, they really want to see me and they're a little bit crazy. And Michael wants to share her Lego dragon. So Kristen sent me as a birthday gift, which was so generous, a skein of narwhal needlework. Okay. Which I've never tried before. So this is their singles base called Willow. And it is 100% superwash merino, and this is in the Twisting Nether colorway, which I think is a Minecraft reference, because there's nether portals, and they're purple, and they swirl. That's what I'm counting it as, and I may use it for the 13 Months of Magic Cal in Jilly's group. And she also included these beautiful glittery stitch markers, because we both love glittery things. And those are from One Geek to Craft Them All. So I'm sure you'll see those on projects in the future. So that's that. I'll share that another time. Then last week I had this and I didn't get to share it. I bought myself a skein of hedgehog fibers in Fool's Gold colorway. Yellow. I've wanted this one for a long time, and I got it from the Argyle Yarn Shop, which is local to Kristen. So thanks, Kristen, for the recommendation. I ordered online, and it came very quickly. And they have a lot of colors that Simply Socks Yarn Company did not have. They're both stockists, so you can check either one of those, and they tend to have a lot of stuff in stock. And if you haven't tried hedgehog fibers before, I cannot recommend it enough. I love, love, love the colors. And last but not least on the yarn front, Devin, who's B Devin on Instagram, is the brainchild behind Francophie Knits, which she has a podcast, and then she's also a dyer. So I got my first 2 skeins ever from her of her yarn. She was doing a sale with some proceeds to benefit Planned Parenthood, and I, during my college years was able to get my OBGYN care through them, so I wanted to support her in that effort. So I bought 2 skeins, And here they are.
I need something else to share.
What is that? You stuck glitter glue on a piece of plastic?
There's glitter glue inside.
Oh, it's inside. Okay.
And then there's some glitter glue here to glue it to the blankie to make it pretty.
Okay. You can share that when you're ready. All right.
I'm making more arts and crafts.
Okay. And for this one, I will not even pretend to be able to pronounce it, but this is from her artist series. So that's the name. And then I just love this color. I think this is going to be socks. So it's got yellow, purple, speckles, orange, blue. It's going to be a really, really fun pair of socks. And I got her 75-25 Super Wash Merino because I wasn't sure what I was going to make. She has some kind of singles bases and stuff, but not knowing, I'd rather get things that I can use for different purposes. The other one I got is macaron, which would be like macaroons. And it is lots of different pastels. So very, very pretty colors. I think it's supposed to be like pistachio, caramel, rose, and lavender are her favorite macaroon flavors. So she dyed a skein of yarn to match those. So there you go. So I'm really happy that I bought both of those. Thank you, Devin. And more to come when I share as I knit those up. And then finally, I didn't show this, but this is my Mystery Stitch Along pack came. I pre-ordered this as well from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So they're doing a Happily Ever After Mystery Stitch Along all year long. So we got our first clue on the 15th of January, and it is supposed to be like all stories or poems or songs that have happy endings to them. It's the third in their kind of set, so I did the Once Upon a Time. I have a Storytime Classics that I've only done one little frame on, and then this one. So I just love how they packaged it. They made it all be in rainbow order. Lots of beautiful, fun threads. It came with a pack of needles and glitter. So that is everything that I have to share with you this week. And just a reminder, we have the palette cleanser cowl and the honey pullover cowl going. So feel free to join in. And, okay. And thank you for joining me this week. Until next time, happy knitting. Bye.
Bye. Everybody, I am on a podcast and I have two things to show you in here and one more thing to show you in there, and I might decide some other things. So the first thing I want to show you is this bag. I wrote I love Jessica on it, and I put little pieces of fabric on it to decorate. And the next thing is this blankie. I made I used my doll blankie in a plastic bag and filled it with glitter glue. Then I glued the bag on with some glitter glue, and now the blankie looks really pretty. So I have a couple more things I would like to show you. Oh, here's my brother. His name is Joshua. He's 2 years old. His birthday's in May. As you can see, he's very upset right now. Say hi, Bubby. Hi, Bubby. No, just say hi. Hi. As you can see now, he's happy. And he's sticking his feet at your face. My feet. I want to put in my lap. He wants to sit in my lap. May I take a bite, Bubs? Big boy bite. And as you can see, he's getting very grumpy and very, very upset. Now, my brother has a bug shirt on him. He's adorable. He has blonde hair like me, and his eyes are green. My eyes, as you can see if I get close, you can see they're blue. It's a little girl from my Dragon Lego set. She's holding a map. She has a bow in her hair, and she's very pretty. This is the dragon. She has pretty wings with gems, and I built her out of Legos. As you can see, her mouth opens and she's about to eat you. She's not really going to. And as you can see, her neck is long. And she has a bow in her hair too. And her tail is long. It has some stickers on it to decorate it. This is her butt. And it has a sticker on it too. This is the last piece of her tail. And as you can see, when I open her mouth, you can see the very sharp teeth. That's what helps her grip when she bites you. So I'll just touch it for you. Ow! I'm gonna get my hand really close and try to pat her. Gotta be really quiet. There. And you can still see the teeth are pointing out of her mouth, and her eyes have some special decoration.
Whatchamacallit? Nook.
No, done.
All right,
Already.
done? Okay.
Well, let me just say bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. That's all I have to show you. And next time I have a podcast, I will show you my American Girl doll with her brain in my mouth.
Or maybe next